Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight Camping Universe doubleheader. We're going back-to-back at Dega, the Super Speedway, 2.65 miles around the circuit. It is guaranteed to be a good night. As always, on behalf of the Camping Universe Truck Series as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I am James East, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second as we get ready to head out. Let's see who's out on track. We got a couple of newcomers as well joining us for the first time here tonight. Daniel Beauchamp, the world-famous radical racer, making his way out for the first time in the number 45 machine. Somehow already has some race stripes on the side of the number 45. And let's see what the guys can do. What you can expect to see here today is drivers running that outside line as long as they possibly can, trying to get those trucks up to speed before they dive down to the inside line and try and squeeze a little bit more time out of these machines. Newton puts down the first lap of the day with a 101.37. Not sure that's quite up to pace. Now, some of the guys not valuing qualifying quite as much as normal here today, as Beauchamp clicks off at 56.23. Let's see who else is out on track. We've got Norman King and the number 28 machine out there circulating in his Ford F-150. Getting ready to put down his first flying lap of the day. Hutchings puts it on top of pole with a 56.13. But we're about to have a lot of drivers coming out on track and clicking off some times here. Only a 5-minute qualifying. So if drivers are not on track at this point, they need to get out there and try and click off some laps to put themselves in a better position, as we get ready to see what King can do in the number 28 machine for his second lap. His first one did not count. Not sure what he had going on there. But Hutchings on top of pole with a 56.13. Let's see what King can do in the number 28 as he crosses the line. He clicks off at 57.03, which is good enough for 16th. Couple other drivers out on track. We got Mark Proctor. We've got Kevin Meyer. And now it is Caleb Nelson sitting on top of pole with a 56.11, the fastest lap. He's about 0.02 of a second faster than Bryton Hutchins here in qualifying. Now, I believe this is Meyer's debut in number 3 Ford F-150. I know it's Beauchamp's debut. I think we've got a couple other new faces I'm trying to spot here compared to the point standings. Meyer with a 56.77, good enough for 19. Only other drivers we have out on track right now have already put down their times, maybe just trying to get a little bit more practice. As we've got a handful of drivers have not put down times yet. It does not appear they're going to qualify. That's going to be Brandon Dennis, Nicholas Wing, Cody Schultz, Antonio Bianchi, Wesley Johnson, Stephen Mioch, and Spencer Chisnall, all not putting down times yet, as 21 of the drivers have put down times. Right now, it's still Clark Janekin on top of the point standings with 307 points. Jared Ziegler is in second, Caleb Nelson third, Marshall Newton fourth, and Jeffrey Sykes fifth in the point standings. But we're going to get ready to grid up these drivers and get them underway here. Now, we are expecting a bit of a lengthy qualifying session, or not, excuse me, not qualifying, a grid sequence to give these drivers a final pep talk, go over the rules, as well as explain what's going to happen here with the doubleheader, how things are going to work. We're going to have about a 5 to 10 minute break between the races, and then we're going to have drivers going right back out there for a very slightly abbreviated race for the second time tonight here at Dega. But we'll go ahead and run you through tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Caleb Nelson in the 07 machine. Bryton Hutchins starting second in the 84. Jesse Rathbun starting third in the 97. Clark Janek in the number 81 starting fourth. Daniel J. Jensen starting fifth in the number 29 machine. Jeffrey Sykes in the 04 starting sixth. Dave Gage in the 404 starting seventh. Levi Opitz starting eighth. Jared Ziegler in the number 8 machine will be starting ninth. Craig Lowen starting 10th in the number 12. Brian Robinson starting 11th in the number 37. Marshall Newton in the 76 starting 12th on tonight's grid. We'll cycle it back a little bit further. We've got Brian Ziegler in the number 7 starting 13th. Darren Clement starting 14th in the 32. Daniel Beauchamp starting 15th in the 45. Norman King starting 16th in the 28. Danley Shandler will be starting 17th with the number 13. Kai Demarest in the number 42 starting 18th. Kevin Myers in the number 3 starting 19th. Kevin Nelson in the 09 starting 20th. Mark Proctor in the 36 starting 21st. Wesley Johnson in the 59 starting 22nd. Antonio Bianchi, the open wheel extraordinaire, starting 23rd in the number 51. Spencer Chisnall in the number 24 will be starting 24th on tonight's grid. Cycle it back one more time. It's Cody Schultz in the number 30 starting 25th. Stephen Miak in the 95 starting 26th. Brandon Dennis starting 27th in the number 69 machine. And then to round out our grid here today, it's Nicholas Wing in the number 99. He will be 28th on tonight's grid. We've got most of them gridded up here on the line, getting ready to go. We're still waiting for Chisnall, Wing, and Jared Ziegler to get onto the grid. Now, generally, Jared Ziegler on the number 8 machine is the last driver to join, since he is one of the series admins here for the Camping Universe Truck Series. As always, thank you so much to our fans, friends, and family that join in week and week out, supporting their favorite drivers at their favorite Camping Universe Truck Series League, as well as supporting your favorite broadcaster. We greatly appreciate you guys week in and week out that like the videos and subscribe to the channel. And I can tell you for certain, all the drivers appreciate those that are cheering them on here in the chat. All these guys go back and watch the broadcast, maybe looking for different things they can change. Maybe looking to see if they made the highlight or low light reel. But they absolutely notice and appreciate when the fans are cheering them on out here. Drivers meeting must still be going on track. And let's see, not a bad grid here tonight. 28 drivers making their way out. Not the biggest grid, but most certainly not the smallest. As now Jared Ziegler has joined the track. So we're going to get these drivers rolling and underway here at Talladega for the doubleheader. 28 drivers, 30 laps of wide open pack racing here today. A relatively short race, so it's going to be interesting to see how that may affect things. Your front row, it's going to be Nelson and Hutchins in the 07 and the 84. You've got Nelson on the inside line, Hutchins on the outside. Second row is Rathbun and Janekin. Third row, Gage and Sykes. I'm going to be interested to see how much patience these drivers have here today. With only a 30-lap race, I'm not sure if we're expecting a fuel stop or not, or if they're going to be able to go all the way around on one tank of gas, but I am betting on at least one caution here today. And I am personally betting on a few drivers not having the patience they need for this wide open track, but let's see what happens. We've seen long green flag runs before here at the Camping Universe Truck Series. It would not be unheard of to see it once more. Pace car will be in this time by, and then once the green flag waves, we're going to send them out. And already we've got problems. Dave Gage got a hearty bump from, I believe that was Jared Ziegler, the number 8 machine. Here we go, pace car is in. Waiting for the green flag to drop. And away we go. We get the party started here for the first of 2 rounds at Talladega. Nelson gets a great launch, but already, oh my goodness, Norman King gets launched. We didn't even make it a half lap, a quarter of a lap. Let's see what happened to King, the number 28 machine. Did he get hit by, what on earth was that? Goes over the catch fence. We're going to watch that one once more from Demarest's point of view. Not sure. Goodness gracious. Trying to find a good angle of that one. I'm not sure if King missed a shift. And that put Demarest in the back of him. One more time for the fans at home. Demarest gets into King very, very hard. And final angle, let's listen on board to King. I think he missed his shift. I think King grabbed the downshift by accident, and that's what caused that massive pileup on lap 1. I mean, we didn't even get the entire field over the line. Danny Chandler involved in that one. Wing and Jensen also possibly involved. King will have to take a quick tow back to pit lane. So not the best of starts for our friends out on track. As that was a spectacular way to start the night. So while we have time, I want to watch a super slow-mo of King getting launched to absolute orbit. Watching King, number 28 machine, who we're fairly certain missed the shift, and that got Demarest into the back of him with the number 42 machine. And then King joins the Camping Universe space program in style, with one of the oddest crashes I think we've seen. Missed the shift, gets hit hard from behind. Gets hooked and then straight to orbit. And let's see, there's one angle I want to see that from. I think that's Kevin Nelson in the 09 machine, I believe. You're on board with Kevin Nelson, and just like that, King gets launched to absolute space. Bezos has nothing on the number 28 machine. And a rough way to start the night for our competitors. Once again, it's Nelson and Hutchins the front row, Janekin and Rathbun the second row, and then Sykes and Gage will make up our third row here today. Drivers coming out of pit lane is going to be Chisnall, Demarest, and Nelson getting some repairs done on their machines. King still down pit road. I believe Chandler has come back in, number 13 machine. Pace car will be in this time by And here we go for our first real attempt of a race. We've clicked off 4 laps under eye-pacing conditions already. So now let's try and get these trucks actually rolling. The crowd here at Talladega looking on with awe as the leaders of Nelson and Hutchins mash the loud pedal and try and get this party started for real this time. And how much patience are we going to see from the drivers, or is it going to be a caution fest here today at Talladega? Inside line forming up pretty good. Nelson, Janekin, and Sykes run the inside line. You've got Hutchins out there on the outside line. He's got, I believe, possibly Jared Ziegler? It's hard to tell. No, that's the 84 of Hutchins giving his support on the outside line. With Janekin leading the outside line now in the number 81 machine. The field staying pretty formed up here. Looks like the outside line's gaining a little bit of momentum as drivers are shuffling around here. It's Nelson, Sykes, and Jared Ziegler, your top 3, all running the inside line. Craig Lowen in 4th, Marshall Newton in 5th. That inside line seems like it's got it going on here. Only 25 laps left to go. It's going to be an early race for these guys before we get ready for round 2. Outside line led by Darren Clement, with Clark Janekin trying to give him a push, but doesn't look like they have the driver support. Not enough trucks hopping up to that high line with them to get much momentum going. But let's see if Clement's going to be able to lead the charge as a few other drivers are trickling over to that outside line. I know we see Dave Gage in his patented bright yellow race truck. as well as one of the Team Boom Squad drivers also going to that outside line. We got about 7 drivers on the outside line and about 10 to 12 on the inside line. But here comes Darren Clement and Clark Janek, and they have linked up bumpers, trying to get a drive to push their way past Caleb Nelson, who's running the inside line out front. A lot of weaving around on that outside line as they're going to go 3 wide towards the middle. Everyone's still trying to find a way in and where they're going to settle things down at. It's going to be interesting here. Everybody's still playing it safe. It looks like the field's back into single file with 2 big rows, double file. 2 big individual rows here. Darren Clement in the number 32 machine. He's got a fair bit of momentum trying to get around Caleb Nelson. That outside line is forming up pretty strong here. As, oh no, who is that just disappeared? Was that Sykes in the 04 machine? It was. Sykes with a massive blink as he's right behind Nelson. That is going to be extremely worrisome for those drivers right nose and tail on the inside line. The last thing you want is for a driver to disappear and then reappear in the same location, as it looks like Sykes, and that is going to be Clement make a little bit of door-to-door contact between the inside and the outside lane. Now Clement's going to slot in front of Caleb Nelson for the race lead, leaving Clark Janek on the outside line. Lap traffic quickly going to be a factor as one driver hops down onto the apron to avoid the freight train of drivers coming behind him. Caleb Nelson switches to the outside line, linking up with Clark Janek. Clark Janek says, "No, sir, I'm not helping you out. Let's take it 3 wide instead." "21 laps to go, and we're 3 wide. Janek drops down in front of Caleb Nelson on the middle groove. You've got Clement running the inside line. Oh, this is going to be wild here, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got Clement on the inside line, Janek in the middle line, and then Hutchins on the outside line. Each line having a fair amount of support. It looks like the middle groove has the most amount of drivers tucking in. Now we know these guys are talented out on track, but are they talented enough to keep it 3 wide with 20 laps remaining here? Or are we going to see the big one? Clark Janek and Darren Clement going side by side. Clement on the inside line, Janek on the middle groove. Demarest, number 42 machine, you saw him take a big hard hit early on. He hops down to the apron saying he wants no business with a freight train of drivers battling for the lead going 3 wide. Does not want to throw a damaged truck in the mix there. Inside line definitely has the most amount of trucks to try and push him out. But that middle line is holding nice and tight, not a lot of swerving. While the outside line just maybe doesn't have enough momentum there with only 3 trucks running nose to tail. That outside line is going to be Clement, Gage, and Beauchamp on the outside groove. And look at that shot, ladies and gentlemen. That is what it's all about at Talladega. Nose to tail, pushing hard, pack racing at its finest. If you're new to the Camping Universe Truck Series, these guys are on fixed setup, so the only major things you can change is your steering ratio for a personal preference, your brake bias, which you will not be touching much here at Talladega. Other than that, it's all about the connection between the truck and the wheel. The drivers out here are what makes the difference. Middle groove still going strong with Caleb Nelson leading the charge. He's got Jared Ziegler giving him a hearty push up towards the front. Getting a little bit squirrely, but they hold on to it. Man, oh man, these guys are putting on a show here today. As we go on board with Marshall Newton, this is what white knuckle action looks like. Newton is right behind Ziegler, who shows in third, but these guys are swapping multiple positions per lap. And there's the patented bump draft that Newton gives to the rear bumper of the number 8 machine, Jared Ziegler. Absolute white knuckling around the raceway. You cannot have a lapse of judgment here at all, or you will be forever known as the driver that causes the big one at a super speedway. And I've got to say, as a driver, I think I would be very glad not to be on that outside line. Inside groove, arguably one of the safest ones. It's easier to spot your reference marks with the infield, knowing where your turning point is, especially if you're the second, third, fourth truck in line for your respective line. Ooh, Clark Janekin hops back in the middle groove ahead of Jared Ziegler. Ziegler says, no, sir, not today. They're going to go 3 wide through the tri-oval. Ziegler hops to the high line. Janekin to the middle line. Nelson still holding on strong to the bottom groove, with Darren Clement giving his support. And there we go. Dave Gage has left orbit. Where did Dave go? That's Dave at everyone Gage in the 404 machine with an absolutely nasty wreck. Let's see if we can get a replay. There we go. Let's see what happened. Is that Beauchamp, number 45, gets into the corner panel, hooks him just right. And that is the second truck we've seen absolutely obliterated here today. As we're going to go on board with Daniel Beauchamp and see what just happened. Beauchamp all the way up the outside line. Oh, that's a tough one to call, ladies and gentlemen. Let's run it back in real speed here. It's just, oh, that's tough. There's just two drivers trying to occupy the same space. Let's see who else may have a great view of that one. That's going to be Craig Lowen that we switch back to next to watch his point of view in that spectacular crash. Lowen, number 24 machine. You see the action in the front right just like that. Gage gets yeeted out of existence. Not quite sure what's going on with the walls here at Talladega that's really exploding trucks into orbit. We're going to get them gridded back up. It's going to be about 13 or 12 laps left to go for the final attempt. Now drivers can definitely make it on fuel at this point, not having to really worry too much. This is the second caution of the night. Again, our first caution, if you're just tuning in, was before the first lap was completed, before the grid had even made it across the start-finish line. We had absolute carnage with a driver getting launched to orbit, and this is our second caution of the night with even more carnage. But man, what a rough night for several drivers. When the crashes come out here at Talladega, they don't do it halfway. We're going to get ready to grid them back up, double file. Everyone opting to stay out except for those drivers that had a bit of damage. It looks like Dennis, Chisnall, Johnson, Wing, Schultz, Jensen, and Hutchins all came in a lap 16. Demarest is also coming down pit road, one of the drivers that was involved in the very first crash of the night. Craig Lowen has an extended stay in the pits, the number 12 machine. Dave Gage, he's going to be there for a hot minute after launching the 404 to the space program. Let's get them gridded back up. It's Nelson and Janekin on the front row. It's going to be a 12-lap shootout till the end here at Talladega. Then a very brief break before we go back out for round 2 of the night of the doubleheader. We're all gridded up, ready for action once more. Are we going to get to the end under green flag conditions? As now drivers in the closing laps, only 12 laps left to go. Could be a little bit more gutsy here today. Pace car will be coming in. And let's see what Nelson and Janekin can do on the front row. Demarest goes back out on track after hammering the number 42 machine back into place. He will technically be on the lead lap, but hopefully he can get up to speed relatively quickly. Away we go. Janekin gets a great launch, number 81 machine. Looks like Nelson has a bit of a bad launch just ahead of Marshall Newton. That's going to allow Janekin and Clement to quickly hop down the inside line. As Caleb Nelson's going to try and get that outside groove working quickly. It's Nelson, Newton, and Ziegler running the outside line. Jared Ziegler, to be more specific, trying to quickly get around Janekin and Sykes on the inside. Janekin and Clement on the inside line. Sykes has joined the middle groove. We still have 24 drivers out on track on the lead lap. And these guys are about to put on a show. 11 laps to go. It's Newton and Nelson, your front row. Looks like both packs are pretty equal here as far as car numbers, truck numbers, getting all lined up. And a beautiful overhead shot here at Talladega, showing how wild it is for these drivers to keep it in the groove, stay behind the guy in front of you, and trust they're not going to make any mistakes. These drivers are pretty much driving through the rear view window of the guys in front of them, because when you're linked up nose to tail pushing aggressively, you can't see a whole lot of anything. Marshall Newton for the first time tonight in the number 76 machine. He's going to get, I believe, a lap lead on that outside line. Demarest comes out of pit lane, or it's hard to tell if he came out of pit lane or maybe dropped it on the apron to avoid the freight train of drivers that are pushing hard. As Caleb Nelson, Marshall Newton going side by side. Your second row, you've got Janekin and Ziegler. Then you've got Sykes and Clement. Everybody inside the top 10 here tonight. No stranger to victory lane. Ziegler, Marshall Newton hop down to the inside line together, ahead of Nelson in the 07 machine. Now Newton is teammates with the guys of Nelson Motorsports, both Caleb Nelson and Kevin Nelson. And now Janekin is going to try and get something formed up on the outside groove to see if he can work his way up towards the top of the number 81 machine. Because right now it's Marshall Newton picking up another lap lead in the number 76 machine. Eight laps left to go for our drivers. What's going to happen? As the laps click down, drivers going to get a little bit less patient and a little bit more gutsy, and we're going to see some big moves trying to be made here. As you watch Darren Clement, number 32 machine, aggressively hop out on the outside groove ahead of Janekin, saying, hey, you've got the momentum. I want to get pushed up to the front. Let's make this happen. And it looks like they're going to gain just a little bit here over Marshall Newton and Jared Ziegler on the inside line. And let's see Darren Clement doing everything in his power in the number 32 Ford F-150 to get something going, as he's going to go side by side with Newton. Can he get himself clear and drop down the inside line? Because he's got Janekin heavily pushing him up towards the front. It's Clement, Janekin, and Newton still running 1, 2, 3 here. Six laps left to go for our drivers, as we are 3 wide and about 5 to 6 drivers deep at each line. And oh, somebody got launched. I believe that was one of the old patented Team Goon Squad trucks we saw get launched. I think it was Proctor, Miak, and Meyer all involved in that incident. And that'll bring out another caution here today. Let's see what happened. Proctor gets bumped by the 04 machine, who then in turn gets in touch with Chisnell. So that's a lot of drivers. Or is that Kevin Meyer involved? bumped and then causes everyone else to unfortunately Bennett. And no, that is Meyer, the number 3 machine, another innocent bystander. So it looks like it's going to be Proctor, Miak, Meyer, all involved with that one. I think Lowen may have been involved. No, Lowen's been in the pits for 11 minutes, so he's pretty safe and clear on that one. We're going to watch that one once more from a different angle as we go on board with Proctor and the number 36 machine. Not the angle we were looking for. Proctor gets bumped and then hooked once more, and then it goes from bad to worse for the friends. So that is Chisnall, Meyer, Proctor, and Miak all involved with that one. And let's see Miak's point of view, see exactly what tagged him in all this. Miak in the number 95 machine starts slowing it down, but just nowhere to go as Chisnall is completely blocking the top lane in front of him. He gets hooked. Also gives a hardy tag to the number 30 machine of Cody Schultz. And the boys go careening across the track. What a rough night for several of the guys, as I think we're going to whittle it down to 17 drivers on the lead lap. And how is that going to affect the points chase as we get ready for the playoffs? We've got JG joining us tonight, cheering on Opitz. Opitz running 12th on track behind Nelson in the 09 machine. Now it's only going to be 12 drivers that make it into the Chase playoffs starting next week at the Food City 175 at Bristol. So let's see who's on the bubble. That's going to be Brian Ziegler, 12th in points. Chisnall, 11th in points. And who is right behind Brian Ziegler? Antonio Bianchi is 13th. Norman King, 14th. Bianchi currently 8th on track. King, who was involved in that early incident, may very well have lost his chance into the playoffs, as Chisnall, I believe, is done for the night in the number 24 machine. I believe he has packed it up and went back to the hauler for round 1 at least. All right, we're going to get this party started in green-white checker conditions. It's going to be Newton and Jared Ziegler, the front row. Brian Ziegler and Darren Clement, your second row. And Caleb Nelson and Clark Janekin, your third row. So a lot of these drivers still trying to secure a few more points here tonight in the doubleheader to comfortably put themselves inside the chase. as we have definitely lost a lot of drivers. Still 19 guys on the lead lap out there rolling along. Let's see if they can get through this green-white checker attempts, the first attempt. Three green-white checker attempts here today for round one of the doubleheader. And as a reminder to our fans at home, we are taking the top 12 after tonight's two races to the Chase playoffs. And it is still anybody's guess that's going to make it into the Chase, as the points are so close between 9th and I believe 15th. A lot of drivers are really on the bubble here. Pace car is in. Here we go for possibly the final time here tonight for round one of the doubleheader. Newton gets a pretty comfortable launch on the outside line, number 76 machine. He's accompanied by Brian Ziegler in the number 7, but right behind him is Jared Ziegler in the 8. Brian Ziegler gets pushed around, able to hold on to it, but they are doing their absolute best to crash for third place. Everybody trying to find a way through. I believe that's Darren Clement. No, that's Caleb Nelson getting bounced around. Caleb Nelson, Darren Clement get into each other, and they cause the final, another huge crash. We're going to back that angle up just a little bit and try and pull up one of our chopper cams here, as that was a whole lot of aggression from our drivers. Let's put that one in slow-mo and see exactly what happened. You've got Darren Clement in the middle of the madness in the number 32 machine. Just getting bumped around, gets hooked into Clark Janek, and I believe that is in the number 81 machine, gets on two wheels pretty aggressively. And then the 07 of Nelson goes around, and a little bit more carnage behind. As let's watch that one once more from an onboard angle and see if we can decipher anything different. And then we're going to back the camera angle up. So watch, you're on board with Darren Clement and the number 32 machine. To the outside line is Caleb Nelson in the 07. On the left side of your screen, not pictured, is Clark Janekin. I'm not sure if Clement went wide there and caused the incident, or if there just wasn't enough real estate for these three drivers. But man, look at Janekin, takes a big hearty hit, gets all the way up on two wheels. Nelson gets hooked by Clement to help finish him off. And then Clement must have gotten tapped from behind, and that's going to send him careening across the track here. But like we've said, if they're going to crash here at Talladega, they're going to do it in style. We're going to watch one more angle because, frankly, we all enjoy carnage here at home. Hard hits for a lot of drivers. And this is going to put us into green, white, checker conditions 2 of tonight. 2 for those English speakers. So it's going to be Marshall Newton, Brian Ziegler, Jared Ziegler, our top 3 surviving the carnage. Antonio Bianchi's moved up to 4th. Jeffrey Sykes still in 5th. As in pit lane, Meyer, Chisnell, Rathbun, Hutchins, Mia, Schultz, Proctor, Clement. All getting some repairs done after that one. All in their stalls for at least 1 minute. Looks like Chisnell's back on track, but maybe having some sort of internet problems in the number 24 machine. Or maybe hopping in and out of the truck. It's kind of tough to tell. That will be the 4th caution of tonight for race 1 of 2 for the Dega doubleheader. So Marshall Newton out front. He does not have a whole lot of support from teammates Kevin Nelson or Caleb Nelson, as Kevin is running 6th, Caleb is running 12th. Clark Janek and number 81 machine comes down pit road. Not sure if that's for damage or what may be happening. Let's get ready to send him out for green-white checker attempt number 2. Again, 3 green-white checker attempts here. After tonight's round, we'll have a very short break, and then we're going to roll out for session number 2 to get the party started for the 2nd round of the Dega doubleheader. It'll be interesting to see, out of 28 drivers that register for tonight's event, how many come out for round 2 and how many are going to pack it up and call it quits. Again, a lot of drivers still out here tonight trying to squeeze their way into the chase round, where we're going to take the top 12 best drivers of the Camping Universe Truck Series that are running top 12 in points and get them ready for the tail end of this season. Pace car will be in this time by. Let's see what Newton and Brian Ziegler can do on the front row. Second row is going to be Antonio Bianchi and Jared Ziegler. A bunch of guys that race together very, very often. Pace car is in. Fans waiting with bated breath. And here we go as Newton gets a great launch. Let's see if he can slide ahead of Brian Ziegler, or if he's going to stay to the outside and maybe give Antonio Bianchi a tow up to the front. Bianchi side by side with Brian Ziegler. As the inside line starts to get up to speed here, Bianchi's going to fall back on the outside line. But no worries, as Brian Ziegler hops to the outside line. Jared Ziegler's going to punch his way up as well. And now Bianchi finally has some friends to work with, but no. He's going to go to the high line. That's a dangerous move, as now you've got 3 teammates running together on the inside line. No, excuse me, that's the Ziegler family and Newton. I was thinking of the Nelsons who Newton is teamed up with, but that is not the case. So you've got 2 family members running 1 and 2, father and son. Antonio Bianchi trying to get something formed up on the outside line, but here we go. Once more, a massive crash, as Jared Ziegler is going to be involved with that one. What a night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happened to Jared here. Jared gets hit from the number 51, Antonio Bianchi. The number 69 of Brandon Dennis just gave too much of a push to Bianchi, sent him sliding around. And that was all she wrote for Jared Ziegler, just an innocent bystander. So you're on board with the number 69, gets in the back of Bianchi just a little bit too hard. Bianchi gets hooked across the track, and then, unfortunately, Jared Ziegler, just an innocent victim there. And let's see who else that was that got collected. So it was the 69 of Dennis, who we knew that about. Is that the 79? Or is that Newton? No, it's not Newton. Brian Robinson, maybe? No, who is that in front of Robinson? Hard to tell, hard to tell. It's Wesley Johnson, number 59 machine. His numbers are just so mangled, you can't really tell who's what. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to put us into the final green-white checker attempt of the night, as drivers are dropping like absolute flies. Again, a very rough night for a lot of drivers here today for the Talladega doubleheader here at the Camping Universe Truck Series. So I am fairly certain this is going to be the final green-white checker attempt of the evening. For round one, I should be more specific there. So now it's going to be Brian Ziegler, Marshall Newton, Antonio Bianchi, your top three. I believe several of these guys are still looking for their first win of the season. So Brian Ziegler, he has 8 starts and only 3 top 10s this season. Still looking for his first win or even a top 5. Marshall Newton currently running second. He's got on the podium once this season at Indianapolis with his highest finish so far. And we've also got Antonio Bianchi, the road racing extraordinaire, who is just outside the top 12 in points. He's also looking for his first win, with his highest finish being a 4th at Eldora on the dirt track. So 3 drivers looking for their first win here today. And let's see what's going to happen if our top 3 drivers of Brian Ziegler, Marshall Newton, Antonio Bianchi are going to be able to pick up their first win. Or will it be somebody further back, like Kevin Nelson in 4th, Jeffrey Sykes in 5th, looking for a win as well here. And this is going to be very interesting to see how the chase points are after the first of 2 races here today. Bryton Hutchins getting back out on track, trying to score some more points in the final moments here of round 1 of the doubleheader. And what's going on with Kevin Nelson in the 09 machine? But now Newton has a little bit of support from Kevin Nelson. He's got a teammate to work with here because he knows Brian Ziegler is going to try and get pushed to the front from Antonio Bianchi. Jeffrey Sykes also going to try and squeeze in the 04 machine. Pace car comes in for the final time here tonight. Now again, this is the 3rd and final green-white checker attempt. So if we get a caution flag before they take the white flag, that will be it as far as the running order will stand whenever the caution came out. Away we go. Brian Ziegler on the inside line trying to get around Marshall Newton. Newton does not have a whole lot of draft support on that outside line. He's got the 09 of Kevin Nelson, so he's got a teammate in tow as long as Nicholas Wing on the outside line. But is Newton going to be able to get back on the podium for the 2nd time this season as Antonio Bianchi throws a big block at the number 51 machine? Moving to the middle groove. That's going to allow Brian Ziegler as well as Jeffrey Sykes to get some much-needed momentum. Kevin Nelson in the 09 also going to try and squeeze through. Excuse me. On the inside line. Bianchi may have stalled the run on the outside. As now Sykes looks to the outside trying to get around Brian Ziegler's number 7 machine. The white flag will fly, so we're going to race to the end here at Talladega. Look at this. You've also got Darren Clement taking it 3 wide. The leaders touch. They crash. They've cleared out everyone. Caleb Nelson's going to be your race leader ever so slightly in the 07 machine. Brian Ziegler involved in a big moment. The leaders are trying to crash again. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Caleb Nelson, Marshall Newton side by side down the backstretch. Newton gets a hearty shove, not quite able to get it pointed in the right direction in time. They're going to go side by side through 3 and 4. Marshall Newton, the number 76 machine, is getting pushed hard from number 81, Clark Janekin. Right now, it's Newton up front. He's going to try and make that truck 3 wide to block both Janekin and Nelson, and he does. Marshall Newton looks like he's going to pick up his very first. No, it's Clark Janekin at the end. Clark picks it up, by just the smallest of margins. Clark Janekin, Marshall Newton, and somehow Mark Proctor. Where did he come from? What on earth did we just witness here, ladies and gentlemen? Proctor, who is running sixth out on track, able to capitalize and come blasting through traffic with a heavily mangled number 36 machine. Here's the checkered flag where you see everybody bumping and grinding up front. And Proctor just able to capitalize on everyone else's mistakes, thread the needle, hold it wide. And he'll pick up 3 spots the easy way and work his way into 3rd. My, oh my, ladies and gentlemen, what a wild night. As Clark Janekin is going to burn it down here at Talladega with one of the wildest finishes we've seen so far this season. My, oh my, what an absolute crazy finish. We're going to get our drivers up here into the waiting room. Up first, it's going to be Proctor and the number 36 machine who we get on board. We've got Mark Proctor in the number 36 machine joining us here. Proctor, you kind of came out of nowhere, buddy.
Yeah, the white flag came out, and I had a feeling they were gonna wreck, so I just kept my foot in it, and I am not entirely sure how I survived.
I don't think we are either, but it's great to see you up here. I mean, from your point of view on that white flag lap, you're in what, seventh, eighth place? What position were you in when the number 36? Further back?
I think I was in 11th or 12th. I tried to get, I haven't got back and watched it yet, but I was pretty far back.
No, I
And
mean,
then, go
Mark,
ahead.
Mark, what do you attribute to your success tonight? Is it just dedication, dumb luck? What is it that put number 36 on the podium for the first time this season?
It's 100% pure luck. I think I got an 8X in that first accident on the white flag lap, and I somehow made it out, and then they wrecked again, and here I am in P3. But you know what? We take it.
Yeah, we're watching the replay of your white flag lap. It seems like you kind of threaded the needle multiple times. I think I saw 3 different big wrecks, but able to pull it home at the end. Mark, before I let you sign off and get ready for round 2 of the doubleheader, who do I give a shout out to that's supporting you behind the scenes in the number 36 machine?
I want to thank Team Goon Squad for sponsoring me, and then just the rest of the team working together. Didn't really go well earlier in the race, but we all stayed with it, and I was able to get a top 3 for the team. So
Well done. It's always good to see you up here in Victory Lane. Congratulations on a successful and very lucky night, and hope to see you do well at the second round here tonight.
thank you, James.
Always a pleasure. Up next, Marshall Newton. He's been pestering me to get that podium interview. We missed you at Indy, but we're here to make up for it tonight, my friend.
Yeah,
That sounds like a little bit of frustration, Marshall. What are you feeling right now?
yeah, I really thought I had that one in the bag there. I didn't think if I got lucky when I blocked him coming out of 4, and when he got under me, I'm like, okay, I don't think he can beat me. But I guess the right front damage I had hurt me just enough to where he's just able to get me at the line. But yeah, really happy with the result. The season's been frustrating.
Yes, finally having that little bit of good luck. The number 76 machine always looking great with your paint schemes. I mean, every martial arts truck out there always looking great, but it's got to feel good to at least get your highest finish of the season. I mean, what did you expect going into tonight? Did you think it was going to be as much of a bloodbath, or what were you expecting?
No, I'm gonna be honest. I expected this one to be really calm, and I expect the next one to be complete excuse me for my language, hell.
Well,
I,
it seems like you got it mixed up, or do you think the next one's going to be equally as rough for everybody?
no, I think it's gonna be worse.
Oh
I'm
boy.
afraid of the next one.
Well, I don't have any good advice for you, Marshall. I mean, that was probably one of the wildest finishes I think I've ever called in broadcasting. You guys put on a great show. I know you got to get ready for the second round here, but who do I give a shout out to that's cheering you and the number 76 machine on this season?
Big thanks to Caleb and Kevin, my teammates. Shout out to Jared for working with me for some of this race. He gave me a few good pushes there to get me to the front.
Well, Marshall, congratulations on your highest finish of this season. Always a great time having you up here, and we are wishing you the best of luck and just hope you survive the second round tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Always a pleasure, sir. All right, up next, the man of the hour, Clark Janekin, bringing it home. But I'm not quite sure what that interval was, but not much, my friend, that you won that one by.
No, sir, and I am not a good plate racer by any means. So the fact that I got that one out is unbelievable to me.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now at the broadcast. I mean, that's got to be probably one of the closest finishes I think I've ever seen at a line. As lifetime in scoring shows you less than a hundredth of a second between you two.
I got it. It's showing 0.004.
I'm not real good at numbers. I'm just a broadcaster, but that's a real small number.
4,000.
Goodness gracious. Now, I mean, did you expect tonight to go like that, or what was your expectations?
Honestly, I expected us to wreck a lot more, and we made it pretty far before we got our first one. I guess if you don't count that the whole start of the race, whatever happened back there. But I got junked in that one on 25, I think, and spun and knocked the toe out of it. I had the wheel about 45 degrees to the right to keep it straight. Came down. I really thought my race was over. I was just trying to get new tires, fix my damage, and get to the end. And then I think I was 12th when we hit the stripe to take the white flag, and those guys all junked themselves in front of me. I just dropped it low, didn't lift, and I ended up in a position to win that thing.
Well, Clark, did you expect? Are you expecting the next race to be better or worse for you after we've kind of got out a lot of frustrations in the first round of the night?
That's a hell of a question. I honestly can't give you an answer. Part of me thinks we'll be tamer, we'll be smarter, and it'll be better. And another part of me thinks these guys are going to go for it all to try and win one before this regular season ends.
Yeah, let's see what's going to happen. I'm excited and apprehensive. Clark, always a great time having you up on Victory Lane with hands down the closest finish we've had this season. Before we let you sign off and get ready for round 2, who would you like to give a shout out to that's supporting you behind the scenes this season?
Man, I got to thank a lot of people. As always, I want to thank you. I'm looking forward to watching that finish. That's got to be crazy. I want to thank all my teammates at All American Motorsports, my boys at ECM, Peak Performance, Surfshark, Glitch Energy, Precision Plus Setup Shop, and my man Ed Hawk for these designs. Man, this truck looks beautiful.
Well, Clark, great job as always, man. A wild finish. I'm still trying to catch my breath after that. That was a rough one to call, but congratulations, man. We'll see you at the next one, and hope you do well for round 2.
Hell yeah, man. I hope I'm talking to you soon.
You and me both, my friend. That was Clark Janekin, your race leader. My, oh my, ladies and gentlemen, what a wild finish. I mean, that's something I can't say I've really seen before in broadcasting, where things got out of hand, but overall it's Clark Janekin picking up his first win, Marshall Newton picking up his 5th finish of the season with a 2nd, as well as Mark Proctor getting on the podium for the first time this season. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very quick break. We're going to get ready for round 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the second round of the Camping Universe doubleheader, the Dega doubleheader at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. Once again, I'm James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting and bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second, as we're going to try it once more, see what our guys can do, and see if maybe some of the guys can have a little bit better luck here today. As we're not going to spoil it for the guys that are just tuning in, but if you have not watched the tail end of round one that ended maybe 6-7 minutes ago, you are in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably the wildest finish we've called in broadcasting yet. Using up all three of our green-white checkers, we had drivers move from 12th, 13th, 14th, all the way up into podium contention. Just what a night, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, qualifying is underway for the second race tonight here at Talladega as we watch Spencer Chisnall in the number 24 machine. We're going to update the points and see what the unofficial points read following that round. Because again, tonight's the last night before we start the chase, where it's going to be the top 12 drivers in points here for the Camping Universe Series that are going to make their way up. Big changes. Brian Robinson has moved up 4 spots up into 11th in points, making his way into the chase. Chisnall has lost 2 spots. He is now 13th. Antonio Bianchi, the open wheel extraordinaire, he is on the bubble, currently 12th in points. Dave Gage lost the most amount of points following that round. He is down 4 spots. So, again, quite the evening here. So right now your top 12 that are in the chase: Clark Janekin, Jared Ziegler, Marshall Newton, Caleb Nelson, Jeffrey Sykes, Nicholas Wing, Cody Schultz, Corey Melton, Kevin Nelson, Brian Ziegler, Brian Robinson, and Antonio Bianchi making up our top 12. But Bianchi has got to be careful here. Only 2 points separating him and 13th place Antonio Bianchi. Spencer Chisnall. And about 3 points separating 14th place Dave Gage from Bianchi. Norman King also still has a chance at it. He's 14 points behind Dave Gage, currently 14th in points. Levi Opitz not out of the chase yet. He's 16th. Going to be very interesting to see how things shake up. Chisnall finishes his qualifying with a 55.92, good enough for second. Caleb Nelson puts it on top of pole with a 55.87. Let's see, we're looking for a particular driver here. Darren Clement out on track number 32 machine after quite a wild night. Man, oh man, what a night it has been in the opening round. One of the craziest finishes I think we've ever seen in broadcasting. And again, we don't want to spoil the results for those that are just tuning in, but out of 38 laps, we had 5 leaders, 7 lead changes, and 5 cautions for 15 laps here at the Superspeedway in beautiful Talladega, Alabama. Talked to a lot of the drivers before this second round who had the plan of kind of hanging out in the back, maybe taking it easy and waiting for everyone else to crash in front of them. Let's see how many other drivers have the same plan, though. As Darren Clement and the Oreos backed Chevrolet number 32 machine goes out for his final timed lap. It's still Caleb Nelson sitting on top of pole with a 55.87. Chisnall second, Miak third, Demarest fourth, Robinson fifth. But let's see if the number 32 machine can maybe shake that up just ever so slightly. He didn't click off a time his opening time. Let's see what it is here now for Darren Clement. He drops a 55.95, good enough for 6th place. Dave Gage in the 404 going out on track. He absolutely launched into orbit that opening race, hoping for a little bit better luck, trying to regain some points and stay in the chase. And look at that, Hutchins dropping a very good time. A 55.88, barely edging out Chisnall for second spot in qualifying. Clark Chineckin drops a 55.92. Again, just a hair faster than Chisnall. So things are still shaking up in the top three as far as qualifying. Some of these drivers running almost identical lap times over the course of their opening laps. Let's see what Gage can do on his final and fastest lap here today. Dropping it all the way down the apron, trying to make that racetrack small. And he does a good job of it, clicking off a 55.88. Good enough for third here today in qualifying. Jesse Rathbun finishes up his qualifying. Let's see what Rathbun can do in the number 97 Toyota Tundra. He clicks off a 55.89. Man, look how close it is in the top 10 here today. Less than a tenth of a second separating first to 13th. And 13th, 14th, and 15th almost putting down identical lap times as well. So the field is looking nice and tight as far as lap times go. Brandon Dennis getting ready to go out for qualifying, maybe. He's got about 3 minutes left. Craig Lowen going out in the number 12 machine. It was a 10-minute qualifying session, a little bit longer than normal, since this is a double-header format, trying to get drivers as much seat time as they can as far as qualifying. It was a very quick hop over from the first race to the second. Not sure what Lowen's doing there, but it looks cool, so that's got to count for something. Now, this race is going to be 30 laps, 0 fast repairs, and once again, 3 green-white checker attempts. So a fairly short race as far as super speedways go. In theory, should be a 20-minute race for these drivers. They did plan on having a hard stop at 11:05 p.m. Let's see if we get close to that one. Jesse Rathburn put it up in 4th in qualifying. That's where he's going to settle. Craig Lowen's going to come out for, I believe, going to be the last driver out on track that puts down a qualifying time here today. And Lowen is going to blow it here in front of the fans, tags the outside wall. That will invalidate the lap of the number 12 machine. And he will have to complete the rest of the circuit sitting and thinking about the life decisions that have led him here. So at best, he'll be qualified 21st, depending on how the iRating shuffle works down for those drivers that don't put down qualifying times. But no, Lowen able to put down a time of 56.74, good enough for 19th. So he's got that for going for him, which is awesome. Looks like drivers that don't put down times. Here's going to be Brandon Dennis, Antonio Bianchi, Nicholas Wing, Daniel J. Jensen, Wesley Johnson, and Cody Schultz. Keep an eye on Daniel Jensen, number 29 machine in the Ford F-150. He was running very strong last race, but unfortunately not quite able to do the fuel calculations correct and kind of threw it away at the end. As qualifying is going to finish up, it'll still be Caleb Nelson holding on to it in qualifying, putting it on the very top spot. As let's take it to tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Caleb Nelson. Bryton Hutchins starting second. Dave Gage starting third. Jesse Rathbun starting fourth. Clark Janekin starting fifth. Spencer Chisnall starting sixth. Stephen Mioch starting seventh. Kai Demarest starting eighth. Brian Robinson starting ninth. Levi Opitz will be 10th on the grid. Darren Clement starting 11th. Norman King starting 12th. Marshall Newton starting 13th. Proctor starting 14th. Jared Ziegler starting 15th. Kevin Meyer starting 16th. Danny Chandler will be 17th on the grid. Brian Ziegler will be 18th. Craig Lowen will be 19th. Jeffrey Sykes 20th. Kevin Nelson starting 21st. Wesley Johnson starting 22nd. Antonio Bianchi starting 23rd. Cody Schultz starting 24th. Then we're going to round it back just a little bit further. We've got Brandon Dennis starting 25th. Nicholas Wing starting 26th. And Daniel J. Jensen will be starting 28th. I believe we've only lost one driver from the previous race, which will be Danny Beauchamp, having a strict bedtime here tonight. Still waiting for a couple of drivers to make their way on the grid. It's going to be Caleb Nelson finally making it. Now we are all here, ready for action here for the second race of the night, the Camping Universe doubleheader at Talladega. And let's see who's going to be able to bring it home before the final cutoff at 11:05. Now the race is going to end at 45 minutes sharp for these drivers. Which will be interesting because our last race actually ran for 52 minutes. And I'm not sure if it counts. We've already spent 3 minutes on the grid. But again, in theory, this should be a 30-minute race. Running wide open without cautions. But without cautions is the really important phrase there, ladies and gentlemen. We've put up a poll for our fans watching along at home. Let us know what you think. Is this race going to go cleaner or dirtier for our drivers out on track compared to the opening race tonight? As all eyes are on Nelson and Hutchins, your front row. Gage, Rathbun, your second row. Janekin and Chisnall, your third row. Chisnall, one of those drivers who's going to try and keep his nose clean tonight, score some more points, and get the number 24 back and chase contention. And pace car will be coming in this time by and away we go at the Talladega round 2 of the doubleheader here tonight, where it's going to be Nelson and Hutchings on the front row. Let's see how things shake off. The green flag flies. And let's see how things shake up as Caleb Nelson holding on to the race lead. But here comes Bryton Hutchins, the number 84 machine, trying to get that outside line working. It's Hutchins and Rathbun on the outside line. Hutchins goes back to the inside in the number 84 Chevrolet. No, excuse me, the 84 Ford F-150. It is Nelson in second who's in the Chevrolet, as well as Dave Gage in the 404. Always easy to spot Dave Gage, either through his Discord shenanigans with the bright yellow truck. He's a very easy driver to find. As it looks like Gage may have psyched out Caleb Nelson, maybe tricking him to the outside line to pick up another spot. But now Nelson is going to have a friend with Jesse Rathbun coming back up to push the number 07 towards the front. Again, it's only a 30-lap shootout, but most importantly, a 45-minute time limit for these drivers. Everybody doing a good job kind of keeping calm so far. Not too much crazy action out on the circuit. And for the most part, we're staying too wide, not having any big moments so far. Granted, we're only 2 laps in, too, so we'll see how things shake up as the drivers get a little bit more confidence under their belt. Hutchins still doing a great job holding that inside line, but it seems like Nelson has really linked up with the number 97 Rathbun. Gets a big charge, but Gage is going to push the number 84 a little bit too much. Pushes Hutchins down to the inside apron. He's going to have to roll around and try and get back out on track whenever it is safe. As the rest of the field leaving him there. So I think Gage just gave a heartier shove than he planned to. I don't think it was malicious, not a bumper run or anything, just a little tad bit too much. But now we're going to go 3 wide. As you've got Levi Opitz on the outside line, see what he can get going, but he's the only truck out there in no man's land. And now Dave Gage in the 404 machine will be your race leader. They are bobbing, they are weaving, but they are holding on to it. And it is still between Dave Gage and Caleb Nelson out front. It's going to be Nelson and Rathbun running the outside line, as well as the accompaniment of Chisnall, and I believe that's going to be Proctor, who has disappeared from the racetrack. He disappears inside somebody. Proctor with a big blink, the number 36 machine. Or no, was that Demarest in the 42? I think it was Demarest in the 42. Shows back up inside his team's trucks. So now it is going to be Nelson, Rathbun, and Chisnall running the outside line. As well as number 13 of Danny Chandler. And now Proctor is going to join back in the Congo line after that huge moment. That could have been disastrous. I think Proctor's still having all sorts of internet problems, number 36 machine. Caleb Nelson doing his best to get that outside line working, trying to get around both Clark Schnecken and Dave Gage. Running that inside line and doing so pretty dominantly. But it looks like that outside line's got 3 drivers running 1, 2, 3, nose to tail, very close. Putting in the draft work. Let's see if Rathbun gives a push to the 07 of Caleb Nelson, trying to get his way up there. It's a dangerous game at speeds of excess of 195 miles an hour. You've got to make sure you make those bump drafts nice and square, as we saw Gage give a hearty shove to number 84 early on tonight's race. Nothing malicious, but maybe a little bit too hard of a push, or maybe not perfectly squared, and that actually moved the race leader completely off the racetrack. Now Stephen Meock's going to be leading the charge in the outside line. Maybe trading off, saying, all right, you give it a try, see if you can get around Gage and maybe interrupt his flow ever so slightly. But great side-by-side action here today. These guys are pushing hard. And anything's got to be better than the opening race where we had a big pile up before the entire field even crossed the line. With 22 laps left to go, Stephen Meock gets the race lead. Let's see if he stays on the outside line with the support of Caleb Nelson, or if he's going to try and make a move around Gage in the 404 machine. Looks like he's going to commit to that middle line for a little while longer, and no big hurry to slot in front of Gage. Or maybe not quite having the track position yet to do so safely. Getting a little bit unsorted there. Everybody quickly hops back into their preferred line. Gage still has the lead. No, Meock is going to take it by just the wheel. But I think going into 3 and 4, Gage will take over the lead once more. This is pack racing at its finest. It's going to be 21 laps left to go. As Meock and Gage showing no signs of slowing down. Both drivers in the lead getting pushed. Meock getting pushed by Kevin Nelson. And Gage was getting pushed by Janekin, but now Meock's going to drop down in front of Dave Gage in the 404 machine. And they're going to swap positions. Now Gage goes to the outside line in front of Caleb Nelson. Excuse me. Gets a little bit unsorted, maybe after a bit of contact between the two. Out of 27 drivers that started, we still have 27 on the lead lap here. As Dave Gage pulls the same move on Miak that Miak did to Gage just a couple of laps ago. Using that outside line, getting pushed by Caleb Nelson to work his way on the lead, and they are going to be linked up bumper to bumper. Dave Gage, Steven Miak running 1 and 2, Gage in the 404, Miak in the number 95, both on the inside line. I think once we get to about 10 laps to go, you're going to see things really heat up amongst these drivers. As most drivers ride double file in this massive pack of drivers. But then you go to Bryton Hutchins, Cody Schultz, Brandon Dennis, Daniel J. Jensen, the fuel load master, Darren Clement, Nicholas Wing, all running single file at the back, maybe seeing what's going to happen at the front, if the big one's going to come out here. Gage getting back around Miak for the race lead. Caleb Nelson doing everything in his power to get his way up to the front. He's got Jesse Rathbun pushing Nelson in the 07 machine on the outside line. Ooh, gets a little bit of a hearty shove there. A little unsorted, able to collect it. No harm, no foul, but he's going to lose a little bit of time on that outside groove. And here we go, Caleb Nelson involved with a big hit. That's going to be Nelson, Johnson, Hutchings, I think Lowen, Newton, Ziegler, King, all involved. Here we go again. The big one finally comes out for Caleb Nelson. I think he just got a hearty shove, tried to get back in line and wasn't able to do so. Oh no, Chisnall, who was on the bubble for the chase, also collected, nowhere to go. And my oh my, look at the number 84 machine getting launched across the hood of the number 69 Brandon Dennis. We're going to watch that one once more from the onboard of the number 97 machine, Jesse Rathbun, who we are fairly certain was involved in that one. Yeah, he gives a hearty shove to the 07. The 07 tries to get back in line, just gets hooked from the number 97. And things going from bad to worse for several drivers. Now we know Nelson, Chisnall, King, Ziegler, Brian Ziegler, Jeffrey Sykes, Brandon Dennis, all coming down pit road. And that is going to really mess up the points for several drivers here today. So up front, it's going to be Gage, Miak, Rathbun, Janekin, and Chandler, your top five, as Marshall Newton, Jared Ziegler, Darren Clement, Kevin Nelson, Cody Schultz, Levi Opitz, Wesley Johnson, all coming down pit road. Nicholas Wing comes in. Proctor comes in. Let's see what type of gamble they're going for as the top 9 are staying out on the original set of tires and fuel here. Let's see. These guys are having quite the eventful evening. Now, we're only 14 minutes into tonight's race. We've got 15 laps to go, so we should be safe for the final cutoff. In theory, should be able to make it at the time allotted. Again, it is a 45-minute max race for round 2. As again, the top 9 have all pitted, not pitted. And then from 10th place back, you've got drivers that came in on lap 15. And unfortunately for Chisnall, he is still in pit lane. That is not helping out his chances of getting back in the chase, as he is one of the drivers on the bubble coming into the second round tonight. But let's see if anybody in front of Chisnall may be having bad luck. Worse luck, I should say, as Chisnall did get back out on track, I think still on the lead lap. It's going to be a tough one to call. I mean, it's never over till it's over, but this is going to be right down to the wire for several of these drivers trying to make it to the Chase playoffs. Again, we're only taking the top 12 to put us in the Chase run. As we're going to get ready to send them back out, it's going to be 13 laps to go as they cross the line for possibly the only restart of the night. Let's see what teams are going to work together here to make sure all their drivers are in the Chase playoffs, trying to do the math on how many points they need and who they also need to have a bit of bad luck for some of the hopes and prayers to make it into the top 12. But if race 1 tonight showed anything, it's that anything can happen here at Talladega. Here we go. Dave Gage out front, Clark Janekin currently showing in second, but you got Stephen Meock, Jesse Rathbun trying to quickly get up front as well. As it's going to be a 13-lap shootout. Gage holding on to it. The top 4 drivers running single file. Back in 5th, you've got Antonio Bianchi catching up to this lead pack. And then behind Bianchi, you've got Danny Chandler, Craig Lowe, and Kai Demarest, Daniel J. Jensen. As Demarest makes a over-aggressive switch to the middle lane behind his teammate Lowen. If this second pack of drivers doesn't start working together, that lead pack of the top 5 are going to get too much room to breathe and check out on the rest of the field. As it looks like Chandler, Proctor, and Clement are going to make their way around Lowen and Demarest. Proctor's going to go back high to hop in line with his teammates. Not sure how that well is going to benefit the drivers, but they appear to be catching up to that lead pack. They're only about 0.6 of a second back, and they're coming strong, starting to catch it up to it. Danny Chandler, Darren Clement, that inside line, as well as Wesley Johnson, making big strides here. Looks like Bianchi's got a bit of tail damage, as the majority of the field, except for I believe Clement, all running the inside line. Clement out there in no man's land in the number 32 Chevrolet Oreos machine. And now we're about to see a massive battle for the lead, as it's going to be 10 laps to go as they cross the line. Bianchi looks to the outside line, as well as Stephen Miak. You've also got Danny Chandler pushing to the outside. Darren Clement goes to the outside. As this is where things have the potential to get a little bit hairy. Ten laps to go at the second round of our Dega doubleheader. With 10 laps left to go, this is where you can expect to see drivers absolutely sending it. You've got 13 drivers that have a shot at it, that are all within 1 second of the leader. Then you have to go back about 12 seconds to Kevin Nelson, who's running 14, Spencer Chisnall, Nicholas Wing. Demarest has a big connectivity issue once more. Bianchi pushing Miak on the outside line, see if they can work their way up to Dave Gage. But look at the damage the number 51 has on that rear bumper from one of those earlier incidents. He may be able to push as hard as he can, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens if he gets outside the draft. If that number 51 is going to act like a parachute on the back bumper with all the damage. Outside line getting a little bit unsorted there. Kevin Meyer comes out of pit lane late in the race, trying to salvage some points as well. I believe Meyer may be a newcomer to the Camping Universe Series. You've still got Miak and Bianchi run that outside line. The inside line staying very well grooved up together. As of right now, it's Gage, Denecken, Rathbun, Miak, and Johnson, your top five. That inside line really working strong. Now, Bianchi does have a little bit of support coming with Danny Chandler and I believe Craig Lowen on the outside line. See if they can catch up and help the top two drivers on the outside line make a push of it. As it looks like the outside line seems to be falling apart ever so slightly here. And Dave Gage still a comfortable lead as the lead pack is going to cut through traffic, briefly making it 3 wide, but luckily the closing speeds so vastly different. Not too dangerous for our drivers out here. We've done well so far, but are the leaders going to bin it here in the second round of the Dega doubleheader? Or will we be able to take the checkered before the green flag conditions come out? Only 6 laps left to go for our drivers. And it's Gage and Miak still battling for the lead, both getting pushed. Gage getting pushed by Janekin, Miak getting pushed by Bianchi in the 51 machine. He's also got Proctor and Lowen helping them out on the outside line. Ooh, Lowen gets into the back of his teammate ever so slightly. The outside line gets a little bit shaky. Everyone able to hold on to it. Now Lowen's going to go back to the inside line to try and keep the draft of the lead pack. He's behind Darren Clement in the number 32 machine. As we're looking like we want to go 3 wide here at Talladega. Miak has fallen back as Jesse Rathbun has made big strides, and we are going to go 3 wide down the backstretch at Dega. It's Gage, it is Rathbun, and it is Miak making it 3 wide. Well, looks like the inside line is going to be the, I don't know, that's a tough one, and maybe the middle line's got the best momentum here, running a little bit tighter. And are we going to go 4 wide here at Talladega? Oh, everyone's scattering, trying to find out who they want to give a push to. Dave Gage still holding on to it, but as the leaders are 3 wide, we've got lap traffic. They're going to squeeze through 4 wide with over 30-mile-an-hour difference closing speed. Everyone able to get through fine, but with 4 laps left to go, we're about to see some wild action here today. As it is still Gage and now Wesley Johnson out front in the number 50 time machine. You've got Gage on the inside, Johnson on the outside, right, better to be said, the middle line. Three laps to go as the race leader crosses the line. Once more traffic comes into effect. Oh, that's got to be exciting for everyone. Going 4 wide, some white knuckles. We had a little bit of contact in the middle. I believe that was Darren Clement and the number 97 machine of Jesse Rathbun making ever so slight contact. But look, you've got Wesley Johnson leading the middle line, and look at the front end damage that he has on that Toyota Tundra. But he's got Proctor aggressively pushing him towards the front. That may be the difference for a truck that could possibly be down on speed with aero damage. Proctor still having those internet issues in the number 36 machine. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem late in the run. No one wants to see a driver receive an EOL under green flag due to having bad internet issues. And we're 3 wide once more as now Darren Clement looks to get the outside groove working. He's got the number 97 of Jesse Rathbun still in tow up front. Uh-oh, we see a crash happening. Brandon Dennis gets off the track. I believe he's going to limp it back down to pit lane before the caution comes out. He does so. That'll avoid the caution coming out with 2 laps left to go. Dave Gage out front, Clarchenek in second, Cody Schultz third, Kai Demarest out of nowhere, he's in fourth. The white flag will be out the next time by. Schultz trying to get that middle groove working with Demarest. White flag is out there, 4 wide. This is not going to work. Just like that, they're crashing. The number 29 and Demarest get into it. Demarest is out. The number 29 machine will be out. Dave Gage gets crashed as well. Comes back across the track into the number 95 machine. That's going to allow Clarchenek and Darren Clement and I believe Antonio Bianchi to make it till the end. Uncontested. Bianchi will secure his place inside the playoffs. What on earth kind of night is this, ladies and gentlemen? As it is going to be Janek and Clement and Bianchi here at the end, pulling home the results. What a wild night. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see what happened under white flag conditions. We're going to back that up a little bit further. And that was just a whole lot of never going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to watch with Demrest on the left side of your screen. Just 4 drivers going into turn 1, never going to work. The number 29 gets bumped into Demrest. He collects the number 97. And then disappears from the racetrack. We're going to back that up just ever so slightly. I've got an angle that I want to see that I think is going to be spectacular for all parties involved. We're going to go on board with the number 12 machine, Craig Lowen, who seemed to have a front row seat here. Just not enough real estate for our drivers. Unfortunately, it looks like Demarest. I don't know. I think they all pinched each other together there. It's kind of tough to fault one driver when everybody's wadded up. As you're on board with Lowen, who's going to get into the back of the number 97, go next to his teammate Demarest, and watch the supreme wall riding here today. But unfortunately, gets involved in the number 29, somehow phases through. That's pretty spectacular. Maybe the joys of an Australian internet. Proctor, the number 36, goes sliding across the track, but all in all, a wild night. As Clark Janek and Darren Clement going to burn it down here. Let's try and get our drivers up into the waiting room. But the two guys have got to be happy here together. Burning it down at Talladega. We've got Darren Clement, we've got Clark Janekin waiting for us in the booth. Still waiting on the open wheel extraordinaire, Antonio Bianchi. And Clark Janek and Darren Clement, they paid for the tires. They're going to use all the tires and the engines here tonight. Still waiting on Antonio Bianchi to make his way up. And then we're going to get our podium interview started here today. Up first, we've got the open wheel extraordinaire, the world-famous F3 racer, Antonio Bianchi, joining us in the booth, the number 51 machine. Antonio, you gained 20 spots this race. You've got to be fairly happy with the podium after how tonight went for so many drivers.
Absolutely, man. It was crazy coming in. There was like literally, I was just watching the points the whole time, and literally like I was sitting 12th on the cutoff. And 2 points behind me was one guy, 1 point behind me was another guy, and then like everyone was all over the place. It was awesome. I'm just so happy to come out of that third. That was great.
Yeah, bringing it home in the chase. You're comfortably within the chase and the top 12. Did you expect that at this point in the season? What were you expecting coming into tonight's doubleheader?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to make the chase. I wasn't too worried about it if we didn't make it, but I had some pretty rough luck this season, so to make it and have like a reset's pretty nice. So it's always good to look forward to that. Happy we made it. That was the goal at the start of the season. So completed the goal. Now we just gotta keep pushing through, see if we can get closer to that championship now.
Well, Antonio, glad to see you turn that luck around here tonight in the doubleheader, putting yourself in the chase. Before I let you sign off and go celebrate with the team, who would you like to give a shout out to that's cheering you and the number 51 machine on this season?
Honestly, man, I don't know about anybody who's watching me, but shout out to Jeff and Norman. They both got wrecked out of the race there, and were trying to guide me through and help me out through that last few laps there. So big thanks to those guys.
Well, Antonio, always a great time talking to you. Good to see you succeed in every type of racing you do, and hope to see you do well through the Chase playoffs, my friend.
Thanks, man. Also, shout out to Caboose, man. You're a champ.
Oh.
Had to get that one out there.
Perfect timing. Antonio, thank you as always for your time, man.
You too, man. Have a good one.
That was Antonio Bianchi bringing it home in second. Up next, we've got Darren Clement and the number 32 machine. Darren, would you rather be lucky or good after how tonight went?
A little bit of both. Luck played off on this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the guys were just out there trying to survive, and towards the end, you almost had a shot at Janekin, just not quite close enough to make it happen. But all in all, are you pretty excited where you finished here today? I mean, what were you expecting to get into?
I was expecting to walk out of here with a podium. I tried last race on a doubleheader night and just got caught up on a late race, last lap crash as well. Took me out of that one. This one just, cut down the arrow where I couldn't pass the 81 there when I needed to. So
now, Darren, I mean, we all saw how the round one of this doubleheader went. It was a bit of a bloodbath for all parties involved. Did you expect round two to go cleaner for you, or is this about what you expected?
hey, it's Talladega and it's wide open, and you got to try to shuffle and get where you can get when you can get there. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. So you go in with just hoping that you make it through the big ones.
Well, it seemed like everything worked out well for you, up 9 spots, finishing second on tonight's podium. Darren, congratulations, as always, looking great out there in the Oreo back Chevrolet. What friends, family, sponsors would you like to give a shout-out to here today that may be cheering you on from home?
The boys over at East Coast Motorsports, definitely, working with us out there tonight. And all the boys that put on this Camping Universe League and letting us run here.
Well, Darren, always a pleasure. Congratulations on a second. We hope to see you do well through the remainder of the season, my friend.
Thank you.
Up next, the man of the hour, Clark Janekin, put it on the top spot in the number 81. Clark, you got to be pretty pumped. I mean, in a night that was marred by tragedy for so many drivers, you had a little bit less work making it back-to-back.
Yeah, 2 in a row, huh? I got to tell you, though, kind of upset, man. I feel for my buddy Dave. I was pushing him there. I wanted to get him into the playoffs, and he's helped me on these plate races so many times. Stuck with him. He led all those laps. And then he, I guess on the last one, the 30 tried to side draft and either just completely misjudged it or, I don't know what happened, but he just came down and killed the 404. And from there, I mean, it was pretty much gift wrap to me. So, sucks to see Dave's playoff hopes end like that, but it is cool to sweep both races here.
Yeah, I mean, so many guys had rough problems. Do you think that track position out front was what helped you survive tonight, or were you just equally at risk as pretty much everybody on the racetrack with the bumping and grinding going on?
No, I definitely felt like track position was key. Race 1 at Daytona, I rode in the back, and I got collected in 3 incidents, and I didn't cause any of them. So I knew with these being shorter races that it was going to happen one way or another, and I wanted to qualify up front and stay up front because safest place to be is in the lead, assuming you can trust the guy behind you. So track position was for sure everything, and I think that showed when I avoided all those wrecks. I don't even have a scratch on that car. It looks good.
Yeah, number 81 machine, always looking shiny. Clark, we're going to let you sign off and celebrate, but once more, remind us what friends, family, sponsors you want to give a shout-out to here tonight.
All my teammates at All American Motorsports, my boys at ECM and PPM, Surfshark, Glitch Energy, Hawk Designs, and you broadcasting it. I think that's about it.
Well, always a great time talking to you, man. Welcome to the Chase playoffs. Hope to see you do well at the remainder of the season and keep putting on a great show for everybody at home.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure, Clark. And that, my friends, is going to do it for the doubleheader at Dega. What a wild night here tonight, but it's going to be Clark Janekin bringing it home once more with a first, Darren Clement second, and Antonio Bianchi, the Road Racing Open Wheel Pro, putting on the podium here today at Talladega. As always, on behalf of Camping Universe Truck Series as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We couldn't do it without you. And we hope to see you next week for the first round of the playoffs. Have a great night, everyone.